Please welcome Schneider Electric Chief Executive Officer, Olivier Blum.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. What an impressive crowd. Good afternoon and very, very pleased to be with you. Thank you very much, first of all, wherever you come from, to spend time with us. It's always a privilege to have you for a couple of hours, couple of days. It's an exciting time for all of us. Of course, for me personally, first time I'm standing in front of you as the CEO of Schneider Electric. Not my first Innovation Summit. 32 years at Schneider Electric. I know only one company. I'm sorry for that. I'm a very boring guy, working only for the same company, but I've enjoyed this company. I'm very privileged because I've seen this industry changing quite a lot in the past 32 years, and probably even more in the past 12 months. And of course, wherever you go in the world, you hear a lot about a lot of things changing in the world. But that with something that does not change at the end of the day is the profound commitment that we should have, all of us, to the energy transition and to the climate transition. And I'm not going to speak too much about myself because I don't like to do it, but I'd just like to tell you that I'm a French citizen. I grew up in France. I started my career for 10 years in France, and I spent the past 22 years in Asia. But every time when I go back to France, I go back to the French Alps, where I was born, in Chamonix. I love running in this mountain. And when you hear a lot of things in our industry about climate transition and energy transition, when I go to this place, I'm always inspired by the beauty, by the landscape, and it's a form of meditation. But every time I go to this place, I'm more and more scared because there is less and less snow, there is less and less ice, and there is a real issue that we have to tackle collectively. And what we have been seeing in the past year, and especially in the past 11 months, it's not only about climate transition. We have seen a profound transformation of our industry, a kind of acceleration. We are all going through a certain number of trends in our life. We've been through the World Wide Web. We have seen other trends happening. But there is one day where you wake up and you see that those things have happened. They are in front of you. They are a reality. They're not anymore a trend. So what I like really for a couple of minutes is just to step back on what we see in the world and starting by what we see in this new energy landscape. And being in 25, it's a perfect timing. If you remember, 10 years ago, the famous Paris Agreement, that has put a lot of focus in the world on the climate transition. We, Schneider Electric, have been a very strong advocate because we were living in this industry, which is at the core of industry, and we were convinced by the fact that if we were leveraging technology, there was a huge opportunity in front of us as an ecosystem really to impact that climate transition and to go back to a trajectory that will deliver a better future for us, but also for the kids we've just seen before us. Preparing the better future for the next generation is, of course, our collective responsibility. So we have embarked in that journey in the past 10 years, doing a lot of influencing, thought leadership, but working on innovation that would make it happen. And I know this concept of climate transition is being debated in different parts of the world. Each geography has a different views. I always say that Schneider, we are not in politics. We are practical people. We are engineers. We are passionate by innovation. But the reality is that the trend has left the session, and every single day you continue to see more and more companies which are committed. And it's even impressive to see that in the world, you have more than 8,000 companies who are committed to tackle their CO2 emission and therefore to work on their own energy transition. So at Schneider Electric, when we started that journey, we were convinced, of course, a part of the solution will come on the supply side, which was, of course, where was all the political debate. I mean, that's where the people were very interested to debate on what will be the speed of the climate transition on the supply side. But at the same time, our research has shown us that it's also important that we work on the demand side. Now, the good news on supply side, and we are in a part of the world here in Denmark and to some extent in the region where there are a large number of companies who have committed to develop new energy, renewable energies, wind, solar. So well done, great job, we are here to support you. And again, when we look at all the political debate, it's obvious that the trend again has left the station. And we can say whatever we want, we can debate, but at the end of the day, the renewables are here, They are very competitive, and it will continue to grow. And you see that in every part of the world, actually, the generation of renewable will exceed the old type of energy. And I think it's a very good news, and we need to continue to support that. And staying on the supply, we have seen that energy has been at the core, of course, of geopolitics. Start a couple of years ago with a conflict in Ukraine, Russia, which has created a lot of volatility in the cost of energy, and probably it will continue. We see on the other part of the world, just take the US, we believe with the need of energy, of power that you need to have in the world, and probably the shortage or the gap on the generation side, amplified a little bit by geopolitics, might create also a new level of volatility in price. So again, the trend has left the session, a lot is happening on the supply side, but what we have seen at Schneider Electric changing big time compared to 10 years ago is that this absolute conviction that the other part of the equation on the demand side will happen through more electrification. And we have been a strong advocate, and not because we believe this is a cleaner source of energy, but on top of being the cleanest source of energy, this is the most efficient way to generate energy. From the time you generate energy to the consumption, to the usage side, you can see that electrical energy is the most efficient type of energy in the world. The good news, many industries have understood, many industries have embraced, and we see that happening in home with heat pump. Again, good to be in this part of the world where people are convinced. But you see that, of course, in transportation. We see that happening in China. I don't want to say it's almost finished, but everything is going through electrical transportation everywhere. We know that there is still a lot of debate in Europe at the speed at which you would like to go. But the reality, if you look at any kind of industry, the usage has started to change because the consumers are asking for a different type of experience. And on top of that, there are a very large number of companies like Schneider Electric who are contributing, who have developed those new technology, who have developed the capacity to make it happen. So it's not again a question is whether it's going to happen or not. It is happening. It is happening because the industry, all the companies in the industry have embraced on this electrification. It's happening in home, it's happening in transportation, and the next big one is industry. And there are a lot of customers here in this room who are industrial customers who are looking on how to electrify their process. We know it takes more time, but it's happening also everywhere. So again, this notion of more electricity because it's clean, it's more efficient, it's happening everywhere. Now, what is the impact it has on our entire industry? And for Schneider Electric, of course, it's very important because as a worldwide leader in electrification, in energy management, we see a big change happening in low voltage, in medium voltage, in electrical distribution. We don't want to make it complicated on that slide, but starting from the left, where we all know a very traditional world where electrical distribution was purely AC, it's moving today already to a kind of AC and DC, and to a world tomorrow which will be completely hybrid between AC and DC. And I like to say when I sit, in front of our Schneider Electric team internally, is we don't want to be disrupted. We want to be the one who will disrupt our industry and that will support the transformation of our industry. Not only by developing the best technology and the best product to make it happen, but by embarking an ecosystem of partners, of contractors, of distributors, of system integrators, basically all the people who are coming to the Innovation Summit to make sure that as an industry, we embrace this transformation and we are not left on the side of the road. Quite a lot on the energy side, which has happened really in the past 10 years when you think through. But it's not only stopping there, of course. Everything is just being amplified because digital and AI is everywhere. If you remember when we were in Innovation Summit at Schneider Electric, we used to say, more electric, more digital will make you more sustainable, more efficient. It has been our belief for the past 10 years plus, and we continue to strongly believe in that. The big difference compared to 10 years ago, here again, it's happening because AI is touching every part of our life, it's touching every people in the planet. We are all using AI at the personal level. We are using it more and more in our organization, in company. But even more important in our industry, AI is touching product, is helping us to connect all our product, our devices, and that create tremendous opportunity again for efficiency. Now, it comes with a certain number of challenges, but we love challenges at Schneider Electric, especially when it comes to technology, because it generates a huge demand in the world in terms, of course, of infrastructure, a huge demand in terms of gigawatts, so in terms of quantity, but a big shift on how those data centers will be designed. What will be the type of infrastructure that we will have to design in the world to support the next generation of chips which is developed by NVIDIA? The shift is tremendous. And some of my colleagues will come later, you will discover more in the next 2 days. But coming from a data center where you used to have a couple of kilowatts per rack to 20 to 30 with some type of technology, we are already moving to 100, but more important, we have to get ready for the next generation that can go up to 1 gigawatt. And that's why Schneider Electric, we are spending a lot of time with all the key players in this ecosystem to make sure, while AI is a huge opportunity for all of us to be more efficient, we can develop the best infrastructure in the world that will create efficiency between power, cooling, and all the other technology to make sure we can support that trend. That's again another disruption that we see in our industry, which is changing everything in the way we are seeing technology in the future. And of course, we could go on and on and on, but I will not be complete if I don't speak in particular about what's happening in the industry, because we have seen a first wave of what we used to call Industry 4.0, the transformation of industry going to more, I would say, smarter industry, but it has also to go to the next level, because again, those technologies are now available that help you to make your industry more efficient and going to the next level with AI, with robotics, and so on and so forth. And especially at a point of time where all supply chains have to be reorganized, they have to become more resilient, and they have to face a world which is more fragmented than before. So again, coming from energy, going to digital and AI, it's a lot which is happening in our industry, but I would not be again complete if we don't speak about the last piece. And we are doing all of that, or we are observing all those trends in the world which is getting more and more fragmented because of the instability in many parts of the world, because of the trade, the tariffs, which keeps on changing in different parts of the world, where we see the next stage, because digital is becoming more and more important, the cloud sovereignty will become even more and more important. And I could go even to the fact that many countries will implement more and more rules to be more protected, to protect their local content, and we see that happening in different parts of the world. So when we take stock of all those big trends at Schneider Electric, that's really, for us, the perfect time to revisit where we are, to revisit what Schneider Electric should be in the next 10 years, and what we should be doing really to create a very, very, very different environment and a platform for all our partners everywhere in the world to embark. So we don't change basically our fundamental belief, and our fundamental belief at Schneider Electric is that everything matters. People matters, planet matters, business matters, but we strongly believe that the next cycle is about how energy is going to power our life, how energy is going to change every single part of our life, at the personal level, at the company level, at the infrastructure level. So that's why it's super important for us to embark in the next cycle and to develop the next level of technology that will make it possible. Now, the key question is, do you think Schneider Electric is an innovative company? Do you think Schneider Electric is a technology company? And let me show you a very short video.
Schneider Electric has been advancing energy technology for over a century, powering innovation and shaping the way we live, work, and thrive. In the early days of electrification, we made electricity safe and ready for modern life, pioneering technology that redefined what's possible. With the first arcless fuse by Square D, Maryland-Juran's high-voltage circuit breakers, and the first contactor by Telemecanique, we turned power into progress, lighting up communities, factories, and entire cities. As computing emerged, we made it easier to program and control industrial systems. The first programmable logic controller by Modicon, the first distributed control system by Foxborough, and the first 3D plant design software from Aviva, all pioneered modern automation, enabling mass production. By the 1980s, technology was becoming part of everyday life. CPAM 2000 was the first digital protection relay for medium voltage, offering better speed, precision, and safety. OSI Soft's PI system empowered plant operators with easy access to their data, and Proface's graphic touchscreen made industrial control intuitive. APC protected our digital lives with the first smart single-phase UPS and laid the foundation for data center infrastructure management with its PowerShoot software. The new millennium brought advanced connectivity to industrial and energy systems. Resource Advisor became the first energy ERP tool, and ETAP introduced the first true digital twin technology for grids. Wonderware's system platform unified visualization, supervision, and execution for industrial control systems. And EcoStruxure, one of the first IoT platforms, made energy visible and systems interoperable across industries. In the 2010s, our innovation transformed traditional infrastructure into intelligent, connected ecosystems. Masterpack MTZ brought full digital micrologic to air circuit breakers, and Motivair's Chillor brought liquid cooling to high-density computing. Planon's cloud-based workspace management system transformed building operations. And PowerTag, the world's smallest energy sensor, boosted productivity across sectors. Today, energy technology can sense, think, and act. Our software-defined architectures are revolutionizing energy management and industrial automation. Automation Expert is the first open software-defined automation solution. For AI-accelerated computing, we're innovating end-to-end, including liquid cooling. And our legacy of innovation culminates in our fully reimagined EcoStruxure architecture. Leading the way with software-defined power and automation, it uses our advanced data hub to onboard intelligent devices, operate the edge control and computing layer, and optimize with software and services. From the first fuse to the future of quantum computing, Schneider Electric is, and always has been, your energy technology partner. We electrify, automate, and digitalize every industry, business and home, driving efficiency and sustainability for all.
And thank you very much, because through this 100 years of history, it's definitely the demonstration of the commitment of all our R&D engineers in the world who have always been passionate by innovation, by technology. But guess what? We don't want to stop there. We do believe Schneider Electric, in this world which is changing, where energy is becoming probably the most important resource in the world, we have a responsibility, and we want at Schneider Electric to be your energy technology partner. Whatever is your industry, we want to be the company that will develop those technologies, but those technologies that will make the difference in every part of the industry. We want to be this energy technology company because we believe we can electrify, automate, and digitalize every industry, every business, every home to deliver more efficiency and sustainability for all. And we don't want to oppose efficiency and sustainability. We believe they go hand in hand. Now, you can ask a question how we want to do it. We want to develop those technologies which are very, very specific and adapted by segment and by application, because the type of electrical technology that we need for home, building, data center industry are different. But we want to leverage this unique position that we have everywhere in the world thanks to all our electrification technology, but to make sure that we can combine with more automation. And now, at the point of time where digital and AI are going to the next level, we believe that we can take this value to our customer really to the next level in every single segment where Schneider Electric is operating. So what are we going to demonstrate to you today and tomorrow? It's basically the next level of what we call EcoStruxure. EcoStruxure being our platform, our open and AI platform, and I insist on that. We have taken a bet more than 10 years ago at Schneider Electric to be open. We want to welcome other players, other technology, and to come on our platform and to make sure we can connect assets together. But of course, at a time where digital is going to the next level, we strongly believe that that platform should be completely AI-powered to deliver more intelligence for our customer, again, for efficiency and resiliency. So what does it mean in details? It means that we are going to the next level of what we call EcoStruxure. It's basically a value where we want to help our customer to onboard. What does it mean to onboard? Is to have access to intelligent devices which are integrated seamlessly, that sense, think, and act. What does it mean? We want to make sure that when customers buy different devices of Schneider, they are going through the same gateway and they create, for instance, a very, very unique experience from the time where you select, you commission, and you use those products. It's not product living in parallel universe, but these are products which are, of course, developed with software first in mind. We want to go to the next level at the operation level to help customers to operate more efficiently their factories, their data center, their infrastructure, thanks to edge control and computing. And again, as I said before, we want to go the next level by helping our customers to optimize their assets by having access to more data. And of course, in what you see in our vision of EcoStruxure, data are everywhere. From field data to operational data to enterprise data, we want to structure those data to make sure they are useful for our customer. Because we believe electrifying assets will create a difference. Automation will take you to the next level of operation. But the only thing that can make the world more efficient and more sustainable is to make sure that we can leverage those data in every single segment and to make them accessible and easy to use for our customer. So this is what EcoStruxure is about. This is really the commitment we are taking as a company to be your energy technology partner and to make sure that we can translate that vision in products, in services, in systems that will make the difference in our industry. Now, in the second part of the session, we want to go more in details to tell you more about all the innovation that we are preparing for you. So let me invite on stage Frédéric Godmel, our Executive President of Energy Management, will share with you our vision on how energy world is going to evolve. Fred, over to you.
Morning, everyone. Olivier said it, when you look at the DNA of the energy landscape, and where I'm going to focus is on the electrical landscape, things are changing a lot. I want to bring you first a few years ago on a network that you probably have all experienced, that maybe in some part of where you operate you still experience, which was an extremely centralized network. Centralized power plant, transmission, distribution, and then the demand, and Olivier said it before, the demand is largely electric when you go to non-residential and residential, but still not very electric if you look at industry. In the past, industries was representing, electricity in industries were representing less than 15% of the usage of energy. Now let's move a bit forward and let's understand the world in which we are today. What we see happening is first two important new loads that are loading the electrical network. And I guess this will be spoken about. Data center with AI, which is already there, and on which there are discussions on additional source of power to power those intelligence, and electrification of mobility that today is just at the start. We know that individual mobility is not very electrified today, and collective transportation not at all as we speak. But what will come, and we start to see that happening, is in some places important loads that will be used to provide electricity to applications that are now extremely energy intensive. The second thing that is changing is that the grid is not centralized anymore. You start to have solar generation at local point, what we call prosumer. We start to have as well, additionally to central generation, power plants that are made on renewable. This makes the grid much more complex. And that's where digital is absolutely fundamental, and innovation around digital is absolutely fundamental. This grid in 10 years down the road can only work if you connect demand and supply. If you don't connect demand and supply, we will have congestion around the flow of electricity, not permanently, but at some point during the year or during the day. If you work on your digital architecture, if you use the right technologies to balance demand and supply, to be able to connect the various points, to be able to make flexible what can be flexible, then you are what I would call future ready. And that's where I want to bring you with one example. But before that, we are now convinced that to be able to use the energy of the future at the best possible point, we need to electrify, we need to automatize, we need to automate the electrification, and we need to get the digital data of the energy chain, which are very much in most applications, power, cooling and heat and ventilation control. And when you digitize that, plus a part of your process, then you start to be future ready. I'm going to show you what we think will happen on the price of electricity. This curve is as well very traditional. This is the grid of yesterday, in which most of the time you had a period where you had a low tariff that was during the night mostly. And during the night, I guess in many countries, people were benefiting from 3 to 5 hours of low-cost electricity. Not a big incentive to automatize and electrify some usages. Now, what we see happening with renewable is that there is a new period happening where electricity is extremely abundant. And this period is at the mid of the day. So it will generate additional new period of very low price of electricity. And what is animating, I guess, all of you, all of us, is to benefit from the cheapest energy price. If you have flexibility capability, if you're able to drive flexibility, then you will be able to benefit from those savings at any point of time. That's why we are doing EcoStruxure. That's what we have engaged 10 years ago, and we go now to the second stage of EcoStruxure, the evolution of EcoStruxure, where we combine at device level software capabilities to be able to receive instructions coming from the network and the price of electricity, and at upper level by combining one layer where site supervision and control software are going together to be able to communicate upstage and downwards as well, to give the right instructions to the devices so that they can switch on and off at the best moment. And all of that is possible with the right level of data management. If you don't manage data from down to top, you're not able to have this flexibility. I'm very pleased to welcome on stage now Philippe Arsenault and a few other leaders that will walk you through example of what does it mean for grid, for data center, for building, and for industry. So Philippe, please welcome on stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. Super happy to be with you today. So, energy management starts with infrastructure, which is the economic foundation of our society. And infrastructure is not a unit, it's a system. And today's infrastructure lacks digitalization, limiting visibility, agility, and intelligence. Electricity is the lifeblood of the infrastructure. And electricity powers economy, industries, and also innovation. And demand is surging at the moment. We all hear that. First, due to the AI race, which, and Olivier presented that, by 2030, the demand will triple to reach 200 gigawatts. There is also a strong increase in electric mobility with cars, 30% increase of cars in between 24 and 25. The chip race also, where fab will consume up to 1 terawatt hour per year. Then there is also the industrial decarbonization. Today, 10% of the demand is with electricity, but this will move to 50 to 90%. So also a big increase, and sustainability, as Olivier presented that, is a key element, and electrification will be our strongest lever there. Grid is the ground floor and support all these industries I've just mentioned. It's the precursor and the foundation of energy transition. But grids are struggling with these big changes. Iberian Peninsula, we all remember what happened there. 31 gigawatt lost in 20 seconds, which put 60 million people in the dark. The grid connection requests are exploding from 2 to 1,000 grid requests in some region. Big increase. Connection waiting time between 3 and 8 years. 3,000 gigawatts of renewable are stuck to be connected to the network. Germany, which is close to Denmark, they have a grid bottleneck. The wind in the north, the demand in the south. They cannot bring this power. And in fact, they are struggling to complete the project. Out of 128 projects, only 34 have been accomplished this year. California, another big example, where in March, there is a sad record where they have to curtail 600,000 gigawatts of renewable because they couldn't bring it to the network. This is linked with the planning. Planning is a key issue. It has to be improved with digitalization and digital twin. And the grids are old, 40 years old. So that's also another issue which we see. So the lack of digital grid infrastructure will mean no system-level intelligence. How to fix that? First, we need to start with intelligent equipment and data at the floor level with, for instance, our solution with Aviva Pi, which will bring key data structuration. And then also for better planification, use tools like ETAP, which will help us to do virtual grid modeling and digital twinning, which is very important to simulate what will happen. And then also deploy digital equipment on site to get more data from this equipment, either from sensors in the circuit breaker, EvoPact or MasterPact, which you will see, I'm sure, in the innovation lab, but also the partial discharge sensors in switch gears to give you the visibility of what's happening. Thanks to this data, you can then move to smart energy management, which is with software and digital architecture. And this is the next layer of energy management. And this intelligent device will enable real-time edge operation, lifecycle optimization via software, but also AI-driven, because a lot of data will support AI, and with that, you can be future grid ready with AI. So over things which are important is ADMS and DERMS. And this platform will unlock grid capacity for AI and the other industries as we've seen. Also renewable integration with a viable business case. The reliability of the network when there is stress, either storm or vegetation issue, but also asset optimization with lower downtime and less CapEx and OpEx. And for example, there is an offer which we are pushing, which is EcoStruxure Grid Asset Performance, which uses operational, financial, and spatial data to improve the asset performance in the grid. And this can be complemented with expert digital service offer, AI-powered maintenance, which will decrease by 75% the downtime and improve the maintenance cost of 40%. So you see, this is the different digitization which we can bring to the grid to enable this transformation. And then last is about sustainability. And in demanding environment, we should not compromise between reliability and sustainability. An SF6 free solution for the grid are today, as we speak, existing. So this is also an element to support the reliable and sustainable grid. So as a closing, the infrastructure we need today is made with a foundation of data going to software with digital architecture which will support end-to-end energy management. And these are available today as we speak, and you can, I'm sure, have seen and will see in our Innovation Hub all these different solutions we have to support the grid. Now, let's focus on another big element about data center or the AI factory, and I will welcome on stage Pankaj. Pankaj, hey.
Hello, everybody. Such a pleasure to be here, and thank you, Philippe, for setting me up. Let me start by telling you a little story. You know, when you think about digital breakthrough, we talk a lot about AI, We've been talking about cloud in the past years and the immersive experiences, etc. All of this, there is something we don't see. What we don't see is the power, the infrastructure. What we don't see is the heartbeat. That's what we do at Schneider Electric. I'm here to talk to you a little bit more, but I also want to insist that not only are we being a part of this transformation, we're also enabling it, and enabling it at scale. When I say scale, I mean all over the world. So with that said, let's talk a little bit more about how AI is today reshaping every corner of society. We hear about AI everywhere, whether it is in science, in storytelling, but there's a foundation on which all of this stands. And that foundation is what we call the new era of intelligence. Let it sink in. It's the digital intelligence. It is the new industrial resource. Why it is the new industrial resource? Because it is creating this huge demand, this insatiable demand for creation of this engine, which we call the AI factories. Factories. Why should we be calling them factories? They don't make any products. They do not even make clothes or cars or equipments. But they do something even more. And that more is intelligence. Again, let it sink in. Digital intelligence as an industrial resource. Now, what is the output of a factory? What is the output of an AI factory? The output of the AI factory is tokens. Tokens, think of tokens as an atomic unit of intelligence. Tokens is how AI thinks. Think about a small note you would put and you would get a beautiful image. Think about when you're looking at exchanging with somebody else in a different language, in a different culture. All of that is happening online. There's no latency. That's the work of tokens. But when you have in a factory more and more demand, then you need more and more output. So when you need more tokens to be built in an AI factory, what you need is physical infrastructure, and hence the AI factory. This is where Schneider comes in. This is where we play a role in the mission of generating more and more tokens per watt. That's our job, to build those infrastructures. Let me take one example. What you see on this big screen here is a 1 gigawatt AI factory. It is built using NVIDIA's GB200 platform. Just imagine, in an environment like that, in a second, this AI factory could be generating more than 1 million tokens. Just imagine, more than 1 million tokens. So what does that mean when you think about the entire system? Did you know that this 1 million per token generated in a 1 gigawatt AI factory is consuming energy which is equal to the entire city of Berlin? Now that is a lot of power, a lot of energy which is getting consumed. So what does that mean? That means, how do we produce more intelligence, which is what we want to do to support this huge growth of AI, but with less and less energy? And to do that, we have to build this new efficiency metric, which is the part of the AI-powered era. And this is where Schneider is leading the AI-ready, as we call, revolution of building these AI factories. And we are doing this at entire ecosystem level, starting with the powertrain, the best efficient powertrain, going into liquid cooling, because conventional cooling just doesn't cut anymore, with all the software which helps digitize these AI factories, and with services, mostly condition-based, which help our customers in evolving their environments. So that's what we do. This is where we deliver performance, resilience, and sustainability. Let's also take a real-world example, especially in the environment, in the geographical location we are in. What you see here is a data center. It's a partnership which we did with NVIDIA and with Eco Data Center. And what we built was an AI factory. for a customer called DeepL. You may have heard about them. DeepL is a company which is actually almost revolutionizing the communication aspect. This is a superpod running with 4,000 GPUs. 4,000 GPUs, it's actually a lot. It's the NVIDIA DGX GB200 superpod, as they call it. We built the entire infrastructure for this environment, right from switchgear to PDUs to intelligence, all of that. What we've also done is we brought in the NVIDIA mission control, and we've put on top of that the AVEVA building management systems, and you'll hear a little bit more about AVEVA in a little bit. And the idea of doing that is to make sure that everything, whether it's leak detection, whether it's to do with management systems, all of that is done in real time. And when you do that in real time, what we enable is a blueprint for a data center, which is not just the most efficient data center, delivering the highest level of possible compute in an AI factory, but also the most sustainable. Why sustainable? The entire heat which is getting generated in this compute environment is actually being reutilized to turn into biofuel. And then it is being utilized by the local societies. That's why we call it, it's the most sustainable data centers. For us, this becomes a blueprint. This is a blueprint on which we continue to build more and more AI factories. And we're not stopping here. We continue to co-design with NVIDIA on various aspects, which is supporting their next level of GPU compute infrastructures, bringing more and more reference architectures with them. We are embedding Schneider's digital twin technology with ETAP and a few others into the NVIDIA Omniverse so that our clients, our data center AI factory customers, can build these environments even before they break ground, so in the virtual environment, which is the simulated environment of the future. And we are also building huge supply chains. We're building huge supply chains from a liquid cooling standpoint, which is one of the key enablers of taking out heat from these extremely high compute, very dense infrastructures. And we don't want to stop there. We want to continue to do more. You know, we all talk about AI these days so much. It almost feels like it's magic, but there's no magic without machinery. Then when you think about intelligence, there is no intelligence without infrastructure. And honestly, there is no future without sustainability. And hence our mission at Schneider Electric to go and build these sustainable AI factories of the future. In the 21st century, the AI revolution is here. It runs on power, it runs on precision, and it runs on partnership. Let's make sure, all of us here, we do this together. Now with that, you heard a lot about EcoStruxure at the start. Fred Gordon shared a few other areas of EcoStruxure. Let's go a little bit into the industrial space. And it is my pleasure to welcome on stage Gwen, our EVP of Industrial Automation, and Casper, our CEO of AVEVA.
Well, effectively, I think that we will talk now about industry, and I want to set the scene because things are moving extremely quickly in this domain, right? We have been industry facing numbers of pressure, evolving, including faster and more sustainable, with electrification, automation, and digitalization that are converging to drive a huge transformation that is enabling smarter, but also more efficient and more resilient operations. This is what we see in the industrial sector, whatever sector it is, whatever segment it is. So now I would say that efficiency, but also intelligence and flexibility for industry is becoming a requirement. It's not optional anymore, it's a requirement. And that's why we need to be very in front of all those domains, to be really tailor-made and to make sure that automation is really tackled very specifically, because at the end of the day, it's the heartbeat of scalable production. Now there is one challenge. Most of systems across the world are stuck in the past. Really, that's the biggest challenge, because everything is closed, rigid, and built with a very ancient world. That's where we need to change. Because customers, many of us, we are locked into outdated platforms. This is something that is limiting their ability to choose, to upgrade, but also to innovate very freely. So this is what we have to change. And this is what we want to talk about today. I will give you one example to make it more visible. Let's talk about music. Vinyl. Years ago, they needed a recorder player. CDs needed a CD players. MP3, same. And then suddenly we had streaming. Streaming, you can listen to music everywhere, accessible in a scalable, instant way everywhere. This is exactly what we are doing with automation. Open software-defined automation. It unlocks interoperability. It delivers flexibilities for industry's demand. And this is why Schneider, we really want to set the stage on that domain. We want to lead with EcoStruxure automation expert. This is something that we have deployed since 2020, right? We have been deploying that in 550 sites globally. So we believe into that. It's really unlocking, it's freedom, it's disconnected, decoupling hardware from the intelligence. And at the end of the day, it's numbers of key differentiators for industrial players. It's hardware independence, the first one, that is the biggest one. But at the same time, it's distributed intelligence, it's application-centric design, and lastly, it's digital continuity. And I'm sure, Caspar, you have a lot to say on that domain, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Look, let me put what Gwen just said into how we put that into action. And let me introduce you to Roslagsvatten, a municipal water utility in Sweden, serving more than 130,000 people. It's just north of Stockholm on the archipelago. Very, very beautiful place. Now, they manage a vast aging infrastructure. 270 pumping stations, 25 treatment plants, 6,000 kilometers of pipeline. You can imagine that's been around for decades. There's leakages, there is inefficiency in the pumps, there's pumps that don't work. So they really wanted to change that, to scale, right? And to become one of Sweden's most sustainable and digitally advanced wastewater treatment facilities. Now, the challenge was how to scale that with flexibility, right? And how to modernize, but not to copy the data all the time, but have one unified data thread, right? That you work always with the same data. And that would make them future ready, right? And ultimately give them access to real-time, full access data. So they partnered with Schneider and AVEVA to define a strategy and basically create a pilot on a brownfield plant, right, around pumping stations, so that they could set the standards for future projects. And at the core of their vision was, as Gwen just said, a hardware-independent open platform capable of supporting not just the infrastructure I just described, but also 300 future pumping stations, so to be really able to scale. Now, we, of course, were able to help them, and together we implemented a layered architecture that connects everything from the physical assets to the automation systems, and then to this digital layer that I just described, right? And what you have to imagine there is basically the EcoStruxure automation expert, right? Bringing the data. This then linked up to the SCADA, the AVEVA SCADA systems that run the control layer. Then this linked up to the PI system, that is the historian for the time series data, the vibration of the pumps, the temperature of the pumps, other data. So really from the field devices to SCADA, and then all the way to the cloud, to the ability to have this in one platform and to create a digital twin. It's an overused word, I know, but it is a twin of that plant and of their plants, allowing them to create this level of analytics, this level of understanding, of deep understanding of what is truly happening in their plants, seeing that in an operations center, and being able to run the likes of predictive analytics, in the future, AI agents, etc., to really get to new levels of efficiency, take energy consumption out of their pumps, right? Reduce waste, and create an environment where they're able to supply the people of their communities with clean, good water. It's a beautiful example. Roslagsvatn, go and see it. It's very, very nice.
Yeah.
Back to you.
Thank you, Casper. I think it is a perfect example of all the numerous, I would say, outcomes that we deliver to customers. Again, it's a game changer. It's really a game changer because then we think different way, the hardware and the software piece together. At the end of the day, what we have to recall by this open software-defined automation, together with Aveva, what we are creating is agility. Agility, adaptability, but also scale in a very seamless way across different sites. You can have 100 sites. It's super easy to scale. You don't need a lot of time. So I would say this is really important. But at the end of the day, you also capture AI very early stage with predictive maintenance, for example. So just few outcomes like that to show you, yeah, this is ready. This is already available. This is something that is really transformational in the way we do business. And without software-defined automation, we would not be able to scale that way. So again, full potential of AI, full potential of digitalization is enabled through this kind of software-defined automation, connecting IT, OT, enable smarter decisions, faster decision, operations at lower cost. This is everything that can build in one single platform. So now I propose that we go back to another segment, right? We talked about industry. I think that we need to talk about buildings, and let's make that happen. Thank you. Manish.
Thank you, Gwen. Thank you, Casper. Now let's talk about buildings. Why buildings? All of us can agree we spend bulk of our lifetime in buildings where we work, go for fun, we innovate, we do research. Buildings have absolutely key role to play in our larger life. Now, when you think about it, we are at an inflection point, especially in Europe. The energy challenge is real, and it's accelerating. As Olivier was saying, every challenge also presents opportunity. I think we can innovate, and we can become more competitive. When you think about buildings, we can think about multiple businesses that rely on buildings to deliver critical value. Let's start with hospitals. Hospitals need to modernize their aging infrastructure so they can provide 24/7 patient care. Second, a retail organization, we know the pressure on margins. They need to manage with simpler digital system the cost of their energy. Commercial office space, we know they need to become more and more sustainable, but also people-centric, so they can attract the tenants and employees back to office. Fourth, data center, Pankaj talked about it. We need to scale data centers, but we need to do in an energy-efficient manner. Life sciences, another example, we are in Denmark here. We need to continue to innovate life-changing drugs, but at the same time, be able to mandate and able to deliver on the reporting and compliance requirements. Now, looking ahead, if you think about it, there are 4 major forces that are shaping the building market. Let's start with what Olivier and Fred talked about it, is number 1, electrification and energy transition. Buildings consume 30% of world's energy. And you know how much is wasted? 1/3 of that energy is wasted. We have an opportunity to turn buildings into strategic assets by leveraging digital and electrification technology. Buildings can become more energy efficient, but at the same time, they can leverage on-site microgrid renewable and interact with utility programs and really make the broader power and energy system more reliable, resilient, as well as flexible. Second, we are facing amazingly complicated issue of skilled workforce gap. I'm pretty sure all of you feel on a daily basis, we feel it. Now, the challenge is, how do we transform businesses while we have the skilled workforce gap? Digital is the answer to that. AI is the answer to that. We can use digital technologies and bring those rich insights and empower our frontline people to drive more impact, make them smarter decisions, and improve and boost productivity in our businesses. The third is resilience and compliance. I think all of you have faced, Olivier mentioned as well, energy price volatility is here to stay. Climate events are here to stay. Volatility is here to stay. At the same time, the regulations, the number of regulations are increasing every year. Now, how do we tackle these? The answer is, again, digital and electrification technology. Those are at our disposal. The last one, which is picking up from Pankaj, he mentioned AI and data. I think that's a common denominator across many of our challenges. I think the power of AI and the potential of data that is trapped in the buildings, we have a tremendous opportunity. I think we all agree, a lot of our systems are silo, fragmented, data is trapped. AI and open architecture can help us unlock a lot of that data and enable the productivity and efficiency we need from buildings. Now, let me give you a personal example where we worked with a client. The good news is that technology exists here, and we have an example from a very world's leading design and engineering consulting firm called Sidara. They had the vision to bring all their subsidiary offices in London under one roof. And the idea was to enable people to collaborate under one roof. At the same time, build one of the most sustainable building, most people-centric building, and that should become the blueprint for their own clients as well. So what we did together, partnered at the beginning of the project, and we knew if we have to deliver on those outcomes, the only way to do that is thinking holistic digital architecture. Architecture which enables all the subsystems and systems to work together in harmony, break silos, bring data, insight, and create those productivity. So just to give you an example, 3 things I would mention. A, we managed to do is occupancy-based, I would call it energy system controlling. So real precise occupancy controlling all the energy system. Second, leveraging the booking system, Microsoft's calendar, scheduling and preconditioning all the meeting room and spaces. And third, providing the usage of the building to drive facility services. All of those things, examples, resulted in 3 things: energy optimization, operational efficiency, and third, at the same time, more comfort for the people. Now, since opening, that building has become a blueprint for Sidara for their own clients, and hundreds of clients visiting that. Many, many awards, but at the same time, the most important goal for Sidara was their innovators can innovate. So bringing people together in that building from different disciplines. Now, how did that happen? The secret behind this is, as I was saying, a digital architecture. So we brought EcoStruxure for building and Planet solution to make that happen. Schneider technology, but also many third-party systems together to make sure all the systems work in harmony. 6,000 plus sensors, number one, to start with, sensors, meter that came together to make sure we are able to monitor every physical asset in that building. Second, we brought a control and automation layer, which is like a mini brain, more and more leveraging AI versus traditional controls to optimize the systems. Third, building management software, predictive maintenance software, digital twin of the building. Bringing all of these together to make sure we are providing insights to all the stakeholders, whether it's operational metrics, sustainability metrics, comfort metrics, maintenance metrics. And more importantly, going from reactive maintenance to predictive maintenance and making sure the issues get resolved faster, issues get faster resolved, asset life is increased as well. And last, typically, there is always a divide between IT and OT. Through open architectures and protocols, bringing the IT systems and OT systems from Planon and other third-party providers, make sure the OT and IT talk together to generate next level of efficiency. Now, what we managed to deliver is from edge connected products all the way to the enterprise software, a complete digital architecture that is working in sync and delivering that outcome. Now, let me go to the next one. In Nordics, here we have many examples like the same Sidara building. We have a software team here just right across the bridge in Lund, which I have privileged to be part of, but also a lot of building experts here, right here in Nordics, that are powering amazing impact for our clients. Next generation healthcare hospital right here in Denmark, North Zealand Hospital, world's climate data center, first climate positive data center, net zero shopping mall, and accelerating growth for a leading life sciences firm right here in the region. So very proud to be part of that. And we are doing this today across a range of buildings in Nordics and across the region. Now, to bring home all the digital transformation and the potential of digital transformation, let me welcome back our CEO, Olivier Blum, on how we can do that at scale to create impact for our businesses, communities, and planet. Olivier Blum.
So thank you, Manish, and thank you to all the speakers. We are reaching the end of that session, and there is much more we would like to share. But obviously, we encourage all of you to take really the opportunity to visit our marketplace, where you will discover all the latest technology that Schneider Electric is introducing in 2025, from product to all our, of course, software solution, and all of that supported by all the services capability that you have built. And I like to say, if you don't know where to start, and especially for enterprise, don't forget that you can go to Schneider Advisory Services, what we call SE Advisory Services, where we have unique practice in consulting to help you to start your journey to deliver more efficiency and sustainability. And I like to end the session where I've started. As I told you in my introduction, I joined this company 32 years ago, and I remember the first day when I joined as a sales engineer, my senior leader told me, there is, two things that you have to know about Schneider Electric. This company is about technology and about partnership. And Schneider Electric has been always committed, and that's why we say we don't just connect systems. We want to create ecosystems where people work together, where we can connect AI, data, and people to work together seamlessly. So this is what about the Innovation Summit is to create an ecosystem of people working in the same industry, but more important, to have the passion, the collective passion to impact the world, to impact the next generation, and of course, to impact our business. So thank you very much for spending the time with us, and let's take all together the challenge to advance energy technology to the next level. Thank you very much for your participation, and see you very soon.